Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about the changing cost of living in Kailua-Kona, and you'll see that there's a big difference between this year versus last year, and we're going to get right into it, into the numbers, so you can really budget for living here, but also if you're looking to buy or sell, you'll get a really good idea of how the market is doing and what's changing right here in the North Kona district. So let's look at what's going on. So the first thing that we need to look, because most people are in a residential area, they have a home, their own property, and we need to look at the price difference between 2023 and 2024, but also the days on market and the overall inventory and how that's changing. So in 2023, you'll see that the median home had a price of $1.195 million. And the average days on market was 32 days. This year, in 2024, in May 2024, the average home price is $1.3 million, so it's gone up about $105,000 since last year. And the average days on market is 40 days. So homes are taking a little bit longer to sell, but overall the price actually went up. So it's a very interesting statistic. The price difference for residential was actually 8.8% from last year. And if you look at condos, right, if you live in a condo, this is one that I think is very, very interesting. In 2023, the median condo cost was $552,000 and the average days on market was 47 days. And this year in 2024, the average condo cost is $650,000 and the days on market is 40. So that's a huge jump. It's 17.6% jump in increase in price for condos, but they're also selling way faster, about a week faster than they were last year. So that's telling that there's a high demand for condos right now. There's also a high demand for homes since the prices went up. But you can see that it takes a little bit longer, which to me means that the inventory is a little bit more flexible. There's a little bit more choices for the buyers. Let's look into more data that I think you'll find very interesting. Most people look at, if you're a real estate agent, you're looking at units sold. What this does, it kind of tells you the demand, right? So we can look at months of inventory, which tells us how many properties are for sale. And there's also another metric, which is units sold, which is reflective of the demand. How many people are interested? How many people are actually buying properties, or are they sitting on the market for a really long amount of time? And what we're seeing is that the inventory is increasing, but the demand is increasing as well. It's following that increase in inventory. So just to give you some information, in 2023, in May 2023, there was 146 condos for sale, and that's sold. 146 condos sold in 2023, and 144 homes sold. In 2024, there were 158 condos that sold, and residential was 177. So you can see that we are selling more properties in the North Kona district than we were last year, and prices are still increasing rapidly. So that is very good news for sellers. It's also really good news for buyers because you're seeing an increase in choices where you get to look at different types of condos. You're not as restricted as you were last year as far as inventory and choices, but the prices are increasing rapidly, which means that you are still in a very competitive environment if you are a buyer. So you want to make sure that you have all of your finances in order, that you know the types of terms that you're ready to offer a seller, and that you have a very good and educated realtor working with you who can work on those terms and negotiate on your behalf in a way that's very tactical and very advantageous for you and what you can do in order to purchase this property. Let's see. If you're a seller, you have to keep in mind that because there is way more choices than there were before, I wouldn't recommend going a little bit too high as far as price point, because your property will sit there for a little bit longer. And then buyers have more choices. So every day that you refuse an offer because of a certain term, there may be another property that pops up faster than it used to last year. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're looking at selling your property or buying a property as well. Okay, we are still in a seller's market. The average months of inventory is what tells us whether or not we are in a seller or a buyer's market. If you hit the 6 months mark, that's usually an indication of going into a buyer's market. 6 months of inventory essentially means that, let's say no properties came on the market again, right? Like today we just stopped, nobody put any properties for sale. It would take 6 months until the properties sold. That's what months of inventory means. The current months of inventory are between 3.2 to 4.6 months right now between condos and residential, which is a strong indication that we are still in a seller's market. And so sellers are still kind of, navigating and steering this market at this time, versus if you get above the 6 months mark, then we'll be in a buyer's market, but we're not quite there yet. But there is a little bit, there is more room because we have more months of inventory than we did before. Okay. Another reason why the cost of living in Kailua-Kona is changing is that there is a new bill. It is changing is because there is a new bill that is proposed and going into effect probably very soon that talks about permits for short-term vacation rentals and rentals in general in Hawaii County, which is the big island. And every island has its own set of rules as far as short-term vacation rental. Each county is different. So Oahu is different, Kauai is different, Maui is different, and the big island is different. So you have to look at all the different islands that you're looking into and the local zoning and rules for these counties. In Hawaii County, they are proposing that all types of rentals register for a permit, whether it's long-term or short-term. And the idea is that people would start to pay taxes on that income, not only GET, TAT, but also income tax to the Hawaii County, the Hawaii state. And they are also proposing or changing the current short-term vacation, I'm going to say STVR going forward. The STVR zoning or nodes is what they're calling them now, which allows certain areas to do short-term vacation rentals in highly concentrated areas versus having them in more residential areas. The other thing that they're trying to propose to change is hosted versus not hosted rentals and the ability to do that in different types of zoning. So for example, now they're requiring even hosted rentals to get a permit versus right now you don't really need one. So the main idea is that they're trying to get an income tax on that revenue and ensure that the residential areas aren't full with short-term vacation rentals that are taking over supposedly too much parking space. So that's another cost that's changing. If you have a vacation rental, if you have a long-term rental, you probably will have to register it and pay a yearly permit fee and then income tax or GT or TAT on that revenue. The other thing that is changing in Kailua-Kona are insurances. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it if you're active in the market or if you're a local person who owns property here. There's a lot of talk about insurance prices going up. And the reason for that, if you want some background on it, is the Lahaina and Kohala Waikoloa fires and how they resulted. And the insurance companies are trying to adjust in order to reflect that. The other reason why insurance prices are also going up, it's related to the Florida complex that had structural issues and kind of got destroyed as a result of that. And so there's a lot of condo complexes that are doing structural assessments to see if the insurance needs to go up or if any changes need to be done, if special assessments have to be made. So there's a lot of things going on in the insurance world. And of course, people are, they're quoting things or saying things that, they don't really know, right? So insurance brokers don't know what the increase in insurance cost is going to be. It's going to be on residential and condos as well. And we don't know. We have predictions that say 20%, we have others that say 40%, and then you have the people who are more on the extreme side that are saying it's going to be 300% in certain areas of, lava zones 1 and 2. So like, who knows really what's going to happen? And it's really going to be on a case-by-case basis. I think what's going to really end up happening is brokers are going to evaluate each property, try to get condo docs and things like that to try to really get a good idea of the integrity of your property and adjust the insurance costs based on that. So who knows what that's going to be like, but we definitely know it's going to increase. So that's something to note as far as living costs in Hawaii. The other reason why the other reason why the cost of living in Paradise is increasing, or you should just know, right? Those certain things are very expensive in Hawaii. Produce, vegetables, meat, all that good stuff is usually more expensive than it would be on the mainland, and you can mostly compare the prices to California. I would say that's the most similar state as far as price-wise for those types of things. Electricity is about 52 cents per kilowatt hour if you're trying to, budget for what it would cost on a monthly basis. Property taxes, that's the good news. They're still pretty low, and they're one of the lowest in the entire United States. So that's something to keep in mind when you're budgeting. There are other states like Texas where it's pretty expensive. Here it's pretty low. The other thing that I would say is talk to your CPA and try to get some advice as far as like what income is taxable versus non-taxable when you come to Hawaii. I know some people who mentioned that their pensions coming from a state like California or Hawaii are actually not taxable income. So if you're looking into retiring right here in Hawaii and you have a pension, that's something that you should definitely talk to your CPA about and see if that is an advantage for you to move here. So I hope this was kind of helpful, give you a little bit of an idea of the North Kona, basically 96740 zip code, the current market, and the changes in the cost of living right here. I hope this video is helpful. Please subscribe. We have more videos on the channel that talk about the Big Island, Hawaii in general, and how to help you relocate right here or just plan your vacation. I hope this was really helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. Aloha!